Hopefully some of y'all got that. I know that some of you guys might be too young to understand who that is or how amazing that woman is. Welcome to Fortune Travels. This is a YouTube channel where I show you guys what it's like to travel the world as a Black woman, but also make mistakes so you guys don't have to, and you can learn from my mistakes and travel probably with a lot more sanity than me. This week, I'm going to talk about teaching in Southeast Asia and my top 10 tips of what to do before you make the move to really teach abroad. These tips could really be used for any teaching abroad scenario. I know a lot of people go to Southeast Asia to teach English, but this is just some advice that I wish I was given before I made the move to go all the way to Vietnam and teach and find out that the job that I applied for and the job that was written in the contract was not the job that was presented to me when I arrived. Some sneaky stuff. But you know, you live and you learn. And I'm living so you guys can learn. So my number one tip before you move or even apply for the job is research the city that the job is in. When I applied for the job in Ho Chi Minh City, I really didn't do a lot of research on the city. I just assumed that because it was an hour from the beach, it was gonna be good enough for me. The thing with Ho Chi Minh City is it had a lot of smog, which I really don't mind, but when I can't see the sunrise or sunset, I realized that was a huge deal for me. Because, and I'm not saying you have to see it like every single day, but even when I was in like cloudy Seattle, I would still be able to see the sunrise and sunset in some capacity, even with the cloudiness. But there was just so much smog that like I couldn't even see the blue sky. Like, it was depressing. But when I arrived in the city, I just like felt super uncomfortable. And they had some really beautiful parts that I visited, but it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough for me. I was warned multiple times about how Ho Chi Minh City is super commercialized, cosmopolitan, and if that's for you, then it's perfect. But you know, when I travel, I want to experience new culture. I want to experience new location, new experiences, and Ho Chi Minh City just didn't really provide that for me. Now that being said, there are other cities in Vietnam that would be more interesting, like Hanoi, but really Da Nang was one of them that I didn't find out until after, of course. But Da Nang was actually a beach city, and you know, when I first looked at the city, I didn't think that there were any English jobs available there, but lo and behold, there is. So again, just do your research on the city that you are going to or the country that you are going to beforehand. Make sure that it's a good fit for you, because like I said, I figured out in 24 hours that Ho Chi Minh City was not going to be a good fit for me. Trust. Second, research the school. This is so important. This is so important. Okay, I wish that I had researched the school before. This is kind of stupid too, because like, I don't know what it was that drove me to not do what I do before I applied to any other job. I don't know why I didn't think about this. It was like kind of the perfect storm. I didn't do any research on the school that I was about to work for, and it was a really dumb move, to be completely honest. A move that I will never make again. And really, I don't understand why I didn't do my research, because with all of the job interviews, I always do my research on the job or the organization or the company that I'm working for. But this one, I don't know. I just threw it out the window. Out this window. You guys, I'm telling you, the view right now is, it's beautiful. I want to live like this. I really want to live like this for the rest of my life. Oh my God. Anyway. Research the school. A really good site that I recommend is the glassdoor.com. I actually went on to the Glassdoor to look at the school that I was about to work for. Again, this is when I was already in Ho Chi Minh City, so stuff I should have done before but didn't. I don't know what happened. And I actually found a lot of reviews on how the school was racist and ways that they discriminate with teachers of color. So I can't say what the school was legally. Hopefully this is enough to help you guys figure out what schools are good for you and which ones aren't. Another good way to research the school is ask if you can contact current or past employees. I asked this of the school that I was about to work for multiple times, and interestingly enough, they completely ignored that question. They didn't even answer it. I would ask them and they just ignored it, basically. I even sent them specific emails asking me to put me into contact with employees. Totally ignored. This is a huge red flag, okay? If you ask to talk to an employee and they don't give you any contact information or any groups or anything to see how the school is, I would not recommend that you work for that school. That is a huge red flag. When you've decided to interview for a school, my next recommendation is to dress business casual for the interview. A lot of these schools are very, well, at least they're very different from the States. In the States, I could definitely wear jeans to work and it would be totally okay. But a lot of the Southeast Asian schools, you actually have to wear business casual attire, which apparently means no jeans. Crazy, right? But yeah, so I definitely recommend that you guys dress the part for the interview just to show that you're more serious and get a better idea of what the dress code is for the school, because again, coming from the States, the dress codes are very, very different. I don't know about other countries, but from the States, it was like, no jeans? Really? No jeans? Come on. Why? Before you even accept the job, ask them for a schedule to see how many breaks you will have, because there's some countries that have a lot more breaks than others. And I'm not saying that this should be the make or break deal, but for me, it's a huge factor when traveling or teaching abroad, because I do want to have some free time. The schedule that this company gave me said that I would work on Saturdays. And that was the other thing too. They said that, oh, no, you only work on Saturdays like when it comes time to grade. But again, when I arrived and talked to other employees, they said they work at least 2 Saturdays a month. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. No way. Sorry. I like my schedule clean and cut, and Saturdays, that's my me time, okay? So if everything sounds good so far with your school, you like the school, you interviewed, you got the job, you looked at the schedule, you're okay with the schedule, before you sign the contract, make sure that everything is clearly stated in the contract. Make sure what you're going to teach is stated in the contract, what times you're going to teach, and what the salary is. But make sure that these are all specifically stated in the contract before you sign it. Companies will give you the contract without those things being stated. So when you show up, you end up teaching something completely different than what you expected. So just make sure that all of that stuff is clearly stated in the contract, not through email, but it has to be in the contract before you sign it. And 9 times out of 10, because they want you to sign the contract to work for them, they'll make those adjustments to the contract. Another thing that you want to do maybe before or after you sign the contract is make sure that they give you an estimated expenses of moving to that country. Now with this, some companies will say that they cover the expenses of moving in, but sometimes, I'm not saying everywhere, but sometimes this means that they will take that cut out of your paycheck for however many months it takes to pay them back. Some companies, they will pay for your travel expenses and your moving expenses and maybe even cover rent. If you don't have the upfront cost, the company will cover it, but sometimes it will come out of your paycheck. So just be aware of those discrepancies and make sure that when you email them, you're clear about that in the email. Because again, some of these companies, they'll try to sneak their way around and beat around the bush, but you just want to make sure that all of your answers are being answered clearly and all of your questions are clear so that you don't have any surprises when you arrive. Also, look at the climate or environment that you are about to move into. This kind of goes back to doing research about your city. I don't mind heat, I don't mind humidity. It's not, for me, it's not a big deal, but really, like I said earlier, the smog is like, that was a big deal for me, and not being around nature was a big deal. So I definitely recommend that you guys do some research on where you're going to be living and on the climate and environment too. Before I arrived to Vietnam, a lot of people were telling me, yeah, it's going to be monsoon season, but the rain passes through in like 15-20 minutes. When I got here, that wasn't really the case. And the other thing to know about that is with climate change, to be honest, nobody really knows what the weather is going to be like until you get there. A lot of my friends who I taught in Southeast Asia told me that the climate is completely different now. So really, it's super unpredictable with climate change. Just be prepared for that. Be prepared for the fact that, you know, even if you're told something, that might not be how the climate actually is when you arrive. If you have any diet restrictions, make sure that that location can accommodate those. One thing that I liked about Ho Chi Minh City was that there were actually a lot of vegan and vegetarian options. Not that I am vegan or vegetarian, but this is super important because I've met a lot of travelers who are vegan and vegetarian, and they'll travel to other locations and the food is just, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I'm talking like cheese and tortillas for 2 weeks. Yeah. Or if they are vegan and vegetarian, a lot of them would actually end up cooking a lot. So you have to, you know, find accommodations for that. But when you're moving to a new country, you'll probably have an apartment, so you'll probably be able to cook for yourself. But just make sure you do your research beforehand. A lot of major cities will have accommodations for vegan and vegetarians. But when you go out to more rural areas, those are going to be a little bit more harder to find. Also, when you have other diet restrictions that are religious, I found that actually in Thailand, it's super accommodating for this. I really like that. I personally don't eat pork. I'm not Muslim or anything, but it's just something that I practice, I guess. I love Thailand because they have a lot of non-pork options, and it's it's amazing because they actually have a huge Muslim community here, so it's great. So, and just be aware that if you're in a city, usually you're pretty good for vegan, vegetarian options. But if you're in the countryside, it's gonna be a little bit more challenging, so you will have to cook more, which shouldn't be that bad. My other big thing that you need to look at before you travel is racism. Now, I know for some of you guys watching, that's not gonna be an issue. But on YouTube, it's been pretty hard to find videos on racism in different countries. If you would like me to do reviews of how racist the country is, comment below, let me know. But yeah, when it comes to racism, I think the best way to assess if you'll come into racism in a country is to talk to somebody who has been there previously. That is super important. This kind of goes back to what I said about talking to previous employees about a company. Unfortunately, the company that I was going to work for, they actually had several racist reviews online that I was able to find. And it was more about discrimination. They gave a lot of the black teachers who worked there the harder schools, the schools that were furthest away, because they wanted to have the white teachers be the face of the company. So that was interesting to find out about. And they even tried to do the same thing with me by putting me in a position that I didn't apply for. So more about that later. But yeah, so it's really important for you to find out if that country is racist, if that location is racist, if that company is racist. So I'm not saying Vietnam is a racist place. Actually haven't heard a lot about racism in Vietnam. If you have, please let me know. I'll be more than interested to learn more about that. But when it came to the company that I was supposed to work for, yeah, there was a lot of instances of racism, and within the first day, they're already trying to finesse their way around making me not work in the classes that I was supposed to work for. And I'll give you guys more details about what happened with this company, why I decided to leave, how they broke the contract, and how I was able to get out of the situation at the end of this video. But again, talk to past employees, talk to past tourists who have been to those countries and those locations, and I feel like they will give you the best assessment of how racist the country was, or if it's not racist at all. Last but not least, cultural biases and sexism. That stuff I've really experienced, I think, in basically every country I've ever been to. And sometimes it's just unavoidable. You know, you can try your best to dress a certain way, but sometimes men are gonna act how they're gonna act, and that's it. And that's something you just kind of have to accept, especially traveling solo as a woman. In Southeast Asia, some of these cultural biases, you're usually good to go again. You just have to dress the part, and within the first couple of days, you kind of see how every other woman is dressed, and you kind of just want to go along with that. So if women are wearing pants, even if it's 90 degrees outside, chances are you're better safe wearing pants also. So now for my story. So I applied for this program in Vietnam, and teaching program, and my contract said I would be teaching high school biology. It was in the contract that I signed, and when I arrived here, they said, oh wait, actually, we're fully staffed for that. You're gonna be doing middle school math, which is a subject that I personally don't feel prepared to teach at all. But not only that, this position was the position that none of the other teachers wanted, so they gave it to me, or they were trying to give it to me. But because it wasn't in the contract that I signed before I left the United States, I was able to get out of the contract because I clearly stated in the contract that I would be teaching high school biology. And that was the other thing. They told me, oh no, but you know, it's the end of the year, so when the new year kicks off, we're gonna be adding a new high school biology position. So it's like, not only was my position that I was supposed to be doing not available that year, but they were saying they were going to add a new position. And it's like, if you hadn't had that position available already, then there's no guarantee that, you know, when the new year comes up, that you're gonna give me that same position as a high school biology teacher, which was what I had signed up for in the contract. Luckily, I had connections within Vietnam, lawyers and friends, which I always try to do before I go to a country, is just have some connections. And they were able to help me out and help me get out of the situation. So that's another thing that I would actually add to this list, number 11, is know somebody in the country before you go to the country. And just get to know somebody, reach out to cousins, reach out to friends, reach out to family friends, to really have somebody there to help you out in case situations like this arise. Because I know I'm not the first person. I'm probably not going to be the last person to get into a situation like this. But yeah, so I can vlog about that later too. Comment below if you want me to vlog about that whole experience, because that was kind of a nightmare, you know, arriving to a foreign country and being like, okay, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what the company said on paper, and this is not the company that I thought I was going to work for. And on top of that, the like office vibe was so off. Like, nobody wanted to be there. Everybody was exhausted. And even the, like, oh my God, I shouldn't say this. But even the staff, I asked him, I was like, oh, how long have you been in Vietnam? And he was like, oh, 7 years. And I was like, oh, okay, so you like it. And he was like, like is a very strong word. And I was like, whoa, like, why would you say that to a person who's just coming in? Like, this is within the first, like, 15 minutes of me being there. So, like, there's just a lot of red flags when I came in like that, because I use the word like, not love, like, but he said even like was a very strong word. So I was just like, nah, this is not gonna be for me. And just the overall feeling I got being in that office, I don't know, I just felt overwhelmed and exhausted being there. Mind you, this is, you know, within 24 hours of me arriving in Ho Chi Minh City with a 14-hour time difference. So I was exhausted to begin with. And then even when I got there, they were like, okay, it's your first day at work. I get there and they have nothing for me to do. They didn't schedule an orientation with any of the other teachers until I arrived there. So they made me wait like an hour. And after the hour, I was just like, there's no way. For me, it just wasn't the move. It really wasn't the move. Yeah, and when I arrived there, they didn't even have anything planned for me to do. So it's like, why are you having me come into work if you don't have anything planned for me? I could have used this day to rest. There are a lot of issues with that company. Again, I can't give you the name. You can figure it out. You can put two and two together. But yeah, so these are my top 10 tips to do before you decide to teach abroad. I hope these help you. And let me know in the comments anything else you want me to add about, or any advice you want to give about teaching abroad. And oh, by the way, this is not my first time teaching abroad. I did teach abroad also when I lived in Japan for about 2 years. So if you guys are interested in that video, comment below, let me know. Maybe I'll make a video about that. Okay, I'll see y'all next week. I'll talk more about my experience, how I was able to leave Vietnam and actually go to Phuket in Thailand, and how my experience is here. And it's pretty amazing, as y'all saw. So, and hopefully as you can hear, this is definitely my element. So I'm really happy to be here. Okay, I'll see y'all later. Peace. Oh, and by the way, don't forget about the giveaway. And I'm still giving away that purse from Vietnam. So make sure to subscribe below and click on the Instagram link below if you want to have more information on the giveaway and how it works. And please, please, please share this video with people, with your friends and family, especially with friends or family members who are about to travel abroad or even teach abroad. Please share this video with them because, again, I am making these mistakes so you guys don't have to and you can learn from them. Okay, see y'all later. Peace. Oh, and by the way, here is the view I was filming in front of. Oh my God, I can't wait to show you guys about this experience next week. What a treat at $30 a night. And next week I'll explain how I got that deal. Peace.